From the dawn of civilization, humanity has wrestled with the question, what makes a true leader? Across kingdoms, empires, and nations, leaders have risen and fallen, leaving behind lessons carved into history. And when we trace the pattern, two distinct types of leadership emerge: those who rule through control and those who lead through influence. These two paths define not only the fate of leaders themselves, but also the destiny of those they guide. Psychologists remind us that leadership is, at its core, about how power is used. Control-based leadership comes from fear, ego, or insecurity. Influence-based leadership comes from vision, service, and trust. These two forces have collided throughout history, showing us that the choice of leadership style is never neutral. It either enslaves or empowers. 1. Control-based leadership, the shadow path. Control-based leadership is rooted in domination. Its foundation is fear: fear of losing power, fear of being challenged, fear of others rising. Such leaders manipulate information, silence dissent, and use authority to enforce obedience. History is filled with their names. Julius Caesar, once beloved as a reformer, crossed the Rubicon and became dictator for life. Rome's republic collapsed under the weight of control. And though the empire expanded, it never recovered the spirit of citizen-led governance. Napoleon Bonaparte, rising as a revolutionary hero, crowned himself Emperor of France, showing that his thirst for control outweighed his vision of liberty. His empire spread swiftly but crumbled just as fast, consumed by the very control it depended on. In modern times, dictators like Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, and Saddam Hussein demonstrated how control corrodes. They ruled with an iron fist, demanding loyalty through fear. But though their power seemed absolute, it was brittle. Fear keeps people quiet, but never committed. Their legacies are remembered with scars, not respect. Lord Acton, the English historian, captured this truth in his timeless warning. Power tends to corrupt, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Control may build empires, but it always destroys trust. Psychologically, control-based leadership creates dependency. Followers stop thinking for themselves, creativity dies, and fear replaces freedom. In organizations, this leads to stagnation. In nations, it breeds rebellion. In families, it produces resentment. Control feels efficient, but it suffocates the human spirit. 2. Influence-based leadership, the light path. In contrast, influence-based leadership is rooted in trust and service. Such leaders understand that power is not about domination, but about releasing the potential of others. Influence doesn't cage people, it frees them. Consider Nelson Mandela. After 27 years in prison, he emerged not with vengeance but with vision. Instead of controlling South Africa through fear, he chose reconciliation. His leadership was not about enforcing loyalty, but about inspiring unity. Mandela declared, "To be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others." By leading through influence, he transformed enemies into partners and built a foundation for peace. Abraham Lincoln offers another example. During America's Civil War, he held enormous power, but he never sought to control the nation for himself. Instead, he anchored his leadership in influence, appealing to conscience and vision. His famous words still echo, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people shall not perish from the earth." Lincoln led not by demanding obedience, but by inspiring commitment to a greater cause. Mahatma Gandhi embodied the same truth. He never commanded armies, but his influence dismantled an empire. His philosophy of non-violent resistance showed that moral authority is stronger than physical control. Gandhi once said, "You may never know what results come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no result." His influence sparked movements across the world, proving that one man's vision can outlast empires built on force. Even ancient wisdom points us here. Lao Tzu, the Chinese sage, wrote, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, 'We did it ourselves.'" That is the essence of influence, empowering others so deeply that the leader fades, but the legacy remains. Why influence outlasts control? The difference between these two leadership paths is stark. Control produces compliance. Influence inspires commitment. Control demands obedience. Influence earns loyalty. Control silences voices. Influence multiplies them. Psychology reinforces this. People under fear-based control may perform tasks, but they disengage emotionally. People under influence-based leadership, however, commit wholeheartedly because they believe in the vision. Modern studies of organizations show that teams led with trust and empowerment consistently outperform those led with rigid control. In nations, history confirms the same truth. Dictatorships fall, democracies endure. Empires of control burn bright for a season, but they burn out. Influence builds roots that weather centuries. Lessons for today's leaders. In today's world, leaders face the same choice. Will you lead through control, or will you lead through influence? Control-based leaders micromanage, manipulate, and demand. Their teams resent them, their organizations stagnate, and their people feel small. Influence-based leaders cast vision, trust others, and empower growth. Their teams flourish, their organizations innovate, and their people rise to greatness. This is not just about politics or nations. It applies to business leaders, spiritual leaders, parents, teachers, anyone who carries the weight of guiding others. To walk the path of influence, leaders must choose trust over suspicion, believe in people's potential instead of assuming their failure, empower instead of micromanage, equip others with tools and vision, then step back to let them shine. Lead by inspiration, not intimidation. Fear wins compliance for a season. Vision wins commitment for a lifetime. Let go of ego. Influence grows when leaders realize the mission is greater than themselves. Serve, don't dominate. True power lies not in how many obey you, but in how many you uplift. The legacy of the two paths. History leaves us a simple verdict. Leaders who ruled by control are remembered with curses. Their power ended with their lives, and often their nations crumbled after them. Leaders who ruled by influence are remembered with reverence. Their light continues to inspire generations long after they are gone. As John Maxwell, a modern leadership thinker, put it, leadership is not about titles, positions, or flowcharts. It is about one life influencing another. Control leaders leave fear in their wake. Influence leaders leave freedom in their legacy. The choice is clear. You can dominate for a moment, or you can inspire for a lifetime. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss more powerful lessons. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video.